Hey, this is OXDF, and today we're looking at day 3 of the Advent of Code 2023. Let's take a look at gear ratios. So basically, I'm going to get a grid like this that has numbers and symbols, and the rest is dots that kind of represent the empty space. And what I need to do is find the part numbers. And a part number is a number, a string of digits, that is adjacent in any way, so including diagonal, to a symbol. So 467 is diagonally adjacent to this star, 35 next to the star, 633 next to the pound. 114 does not have a thing next to it, so we skip that. And in this case, we want to find the sum of all the part numbers. So let's go ahead and jump in. I do Gen Day number 3, and I've got a description of this. This is my script to like pull the input and things, and I've got that in the first video you can check out there if you want to see more details. Nothing super exciting about the input here. We can sort of just scan through. I think it's basically safe to say that anything that's not a digit or a dot is going to be a symbol. So we're good there. Let's write some code. Okay, so we're gonna read this in. We're gonna want to process these. We're gonna want to walk through this, and my gut instinct at first is like I gotta find the numbers and then see if they're next to things. But it's actually gonna be a lot easier to find things and then see if there's numbers next to them. So I think we're gonna do it that way. So let's go through here. We're gonna loop over this in rows and columns. We'll do for row, and we'll do r comma row in enumerate lines, for c comma char in enumerate line. So that now we're gonna get basically loop over. Oops, line is row. There we go. And then what can we do? We're gonna say if char dot, let's see, if char dot is digit, or char equals that, continue. So we don't need to do anything if it's that. So now, otherwise we know we have a symbol. So what we're gonna do there, we'll say for RR in R plus 1, R, I should have done the other way around, R minus 1, like that, for CC in C minus 1, C plus 1. Now we're going to check each space around it. We can say, let's come up here and we'll say, what are we going to call this? We're looking. So we found our spaces, our digits now. We want to then think about like, okay, we're going to store any numbers around them. So we'll say numbers equals set. I guess we'll do it like that, and we can now say if we'll do numbers equals list. So we'll store it as a list, and we'll say if we are now looking at, what are we looking at here? Lines sub rr sub cc dot is digit, like that. So now we found a digit. Actually, let's make this a set. Let's make it a set. And so now we need to go back to, we found a digit. We need to go back to the beginnings. We're going to store the start of each thing, right? So we can now go through and say while, we'll say dc is equal to 0, while, this is way too nested here. This is actually terrible Python code, but I think it's going to work. We'd really want to do this in like functions and things, but to solve this whole problem, I think this is an okay place to do it. So while, let's see, lines sub rr sub cc plus dc that is digit dc minus 1, dc minus equals 1. Basically, what we're gonna do is we find a digit, right? But we need to move back. We get to the beginning of the line. So once, if it's a digit, we go back 1. Actually, what we should really do is we should do this minus 1. So while the previous thing is a digit, move back to there. And then when you're done, this DC is going to be a thing. So then what we can do is we can say numbers dot add, and we'll add RR, comma, CC plus DC, like that. And so now that'll give us, we should now have a list of the starting place of all the numbers. In fact, let's part 1 equals numbers, like that. And because we made a set here, even if we find the same set of numbers twice, it's gonna only, the starting point will only get added. So that I gotta do it that many times. Let's try this. Python day3.py. We better grab the example so we can compare, because I don't want to do this on the giant data. ex.text. Okay. Let's go ahead and do ex.text. Oh, we got some problem here. Oh, index is out of range. Oh, we have to check and see if we're greater than 0. Oh, that's annoying. Okay. Let's see. So we're gonna say, yeah. Okay. If RR is greater than 0 and RR, actually we'll do a continue here. If RR is less than 0 or RR is greater than len lines, or CC is less than 0 or RR is greater than len. We're gonna assume all the lines are the same space for now. Lines 0. Continue, because we've gone off the map. There's no need to check. So let's try that now. For out of range CC. Let's put, for now we'll do mpdb here, and we will run. And did we not hit the error? Oh, are we here? Let's see, what is RR? 1 CC 11 lines 1. Oh, we need to strip. That's one thing we got to do. I should just l.strip for L in there. So now we've stripped everything out. That works better. Let's see, run numbers.add associate RR DC. I don't know why we stopped there. I don't know, we should quit. Let's do this without there. Oh, numbers has no attribute add. Isn't that how you add things to a set? Python add to set. Does that make it a set? Is that not? I made it a tuple, didn't I? Let's just make this a set. All right. So we get to, now we're here where we have nothing. Let's try print RR, comma, CC plus DC. Are we really getting nothing? No, we're not getting nothing. We're just not adding correctly. So let's see if this, first, before we go further, we'll compare and see if this looks good. 2, 2, which would be this, that's good. 0, 0 is up here, yep. 2, 6 looks like this. I think this is looking pretty good. The only problem is we're not tracking it very well. So Python test equals set dot add 3. Oops. Set dot add 3,4. Up. Test dot add 3. Test dot add 5. Test 3, 5. That looks good. What do I have wrong here? Let's do a breakpoint here. And run this again. So we can now say, what is numbers? That looks good. Continue, numbers, continue numbers. Okay, that is working. So we have some sort of breakpoint. Maybe the problem is just in how I'm setting this up. Continue. Are we not hitting that? So what happens here? Numbers. That looks good. Part 1. That looks good. Am I just not printing it right? Oh, I set it to empty string right here. Man, I'm sure some of y'all were just like yelling at your screen. I was up so late last night watching football that I am really not functioning at a high level today. Okay, so I think we've got this here. The numbers. Now all we need to do is parse the numbers. So we can say for and let's say x comma y in numbers. We will say let's see, what's the quickest way to get this? We'll say while, let's make this RC because let's stay consistent here. That looks better. While DC equals 0, well, lines sub R sub C plus DC plus 1 dot is digit DC plus equals 1. Now we're going to get to the end of the string, and then we can just say part 1 equals 0, and we say part 1 plus equals sum, int of lines R C colon DC plus 1. Let's try that, see what happens. Okay, we don't like that. Invalid literal for thing base 10. With PDB, we run. We now have R. Oh, shoot. With PDB, we run. We now have, what is R? 9. What is C? 5. What is DC? Oops. 2. So let's I guess we just want to see what this is. An empty string. Because this should be C plus that. That looks much better. Quit, run 4,300. That is the correct answer. So now we can try it on our input. Whoa, we have a thing out of range. We'll have to say while DC C plus DC plus 1 is less than len lines 0. And that way we stay in bounds. We have an answer. Let's grab this real quick. See if we got it. Whew, all right. Pause and I'm going to read part 2 real quick. Okay, so I need to find the gears. A gear is different than a part. Fine. A gear is when there's a star next to 2 numbers. So you can see this star next to 4, 6, 7, and 3, 5. This one is next to 1 number, so it's not something. This one right here gets 755 and 598. So those are gears. I need to multiply them together. I think. Let's see. Is that right? Is the multiply those 2 numbers together, and then I need to add those together to get a sum. So we actually are pretty good. I think we're in a pretty good foundation here, despite the ugliness of our code. We can call this, let's see, rename symbol, P1 numbers. And so we can call this like P2, I guess, do I want to keep the coordinate here or do I want to just go ahead and parse it? I guess I need to think about this here. So I can do, I'm going to just store all the coordinates and then find them from there. So I'm going to say P2 stars equals set like this. And then down here, much easier, before I do all this looping, It's not that. Let's say. So if star dot equals star. Well, maybe not. Maybe I should go ahead and yeah, it's just too much. So it's going to do p2 stars like this. I'm going to end up having to do another this over again. This is going to be some ugly code. Today I'm trying to just get it done today. So we're going to do it. We're going to do add r comma c. Okay, so we're just gonna grab it there. For part 2 down here, we're gonna say for r comma c in p2 stars. So we're gonna have our things. What we're gonna do, we need to see if there's two things next to it. So we'll say count equals 0. Ooh, it's hard to see, like, how do we have to make sure we don't we can't, how do we have to make sure that there's two things but that they're separated. So we have to think about this I guess we can find the numbers. I guess we'll do it this way. We'll say ADJ nums is equal to set. We will say maybe we should do this up here. Because we're going to track it anyway. Let's do this. Okay, it's going to get kind of ugly, but we're going to work on it here. So we're going to say ADJ nums is equal to set like that. And so now we're going to, rather than tracking this global set here, we're going to add, whenever we find digits, we're going to add, we're going to find the start of the digit just like we did before, and we'll do ADJ nums dot add RR DC plus DC plus, like that. Now for each row, we're doing that for each place we find. Now down here we can say if len ADJ nums equals 2. Actually, let's do it. Let's just catch ourselves. It's greater than 2. We can do assert false here and just find it. We'll throw an error. So we just want to make sure. Now we can say if len ADJ nums equals 2. That means we found a part. We can then say p. In fact, we don't need this. We're just gonna do part 2 is equal to 0. We're just gonna solve it in here. Part 2, we need to get, just like we did before, we need to get the thing. So we're gonna say num4, let's see, for ADJ num in ADJ nums. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna create a quick function. Def int from chord. Going to take a R and a C. It's going to do this bit right here. It sets a DC, it loops over it, and we are going to return that. So now we can say part 1 plus equals get, what do I call it? Get int from chord? Oh, just int from chord. Int from chord. R comma C. And now my part 1 should still be fine. Why don't we like that part 1? Oh, because I haven't done anything here. Okay, so for the adjacent numbers, we can do we don't even need a 4. We can say part 2 plus equals int from chord ADJ nums 0. And I think we put a star here to make that unpack. Times int from chords star ADJ nums 1. Let's see if this works. Try it. We got a problem here. We can't subscript. Oh, we can't sing. Okay, so we're gonna have to loop over them. No, let's see. We can do. What do we do to get the items out of a set? Python x equals set, x dot add 4, x dot add 5, x is that. I want to say x, I can't say x sub 0. How do I get x sub pop? X, okay, I can just do that. So we'll say num1 equals int from chord x, what am I looking for? adjnums dot pop, like that. Num2 equals int from chord adjnums dot pop. Maybe this will work. And we can just do num1 times num2 without space. Try that. Okay, so we tried, I think we need the star here to unpack the tuple. Our first answer is still right, and our second answer is, where's my 467,835? All right. Big number. Let's see how it goes. Nice. Okay, so this was kind of a rough day, because frankly, I'm just tired. But let's see. Where is my code? Let's go through this again. Basically, what we're doing is we're just going to loop over things. We're going to, for each time we get to something that's, if it's a dot or a digit, we're just going to go on. Then we're going to find, if we found a symbol, so we're going to see if we find numbers around it. In part one, we're just going to track the position of those numbers and eventually add together. We could probably move this up into here, actually. Let's do that. Oh, no, actually it's nice because we need to keep it as a set in part one. That's important. So in part two, we are looking for if it's a, only if it's a, we don't actually even ever check. That's interesting. We probably that's probably a catch we should have made. So in part two, we check and see if it's a, we check and see if it's a special thing. We never say, is the character itself a star? So I think we really should do if char equals star that. Although we don't use, yeah, so I think we should do that. I think it looks like we're gonna get the same thing, but they could have tricked us and put a like pound sign with two things next to it, and we would have found that and added it, and it wouldn't have been right. So anyway, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for hanging out with me today. This was not the best cleanest code we've ever written, but we solved it. So I will see you tomorrow. Bye.